Technology today is something that affects the legal fraternity deeply. Traditionally, lawyers have always been averse to technological advances. And it's only now that these technological advances have really disrupted our normal manner of doing things. We now have e-filing in the company's registry. We have now e-filing started off as a pilot scheme in the commercial division. Now it's supposed to be used throughout. This morning I had a conversation with one of my colleagues, and we have a bar bench committee on Thursday where we still have challenges in e-filing. We're supposed to have started it off in the Court of Appeal. It's still a work in progress. It's there in the Supreme Court. And generally, at least as far as the judiciary is concerned, we have over 128 courts connected to the internet. In the last 6 months of last year, we have had, because of some of the technological advances embraced, we've had a reduction of 180,000 cases simply because of this new technology in place. And going forward, we envisage a situation where we will have video conferencing so that we don't have to have witnesses come from overseas to come to Kenya. And especially in criminal matters where witnesses are scared for their lives or any threats, any perceived threats, video conferencing is the way to go. And it's something that we embrace. Now, what about the Law Society of Kenya? What have we done in terms of ICT? One, this morning, just before coming here, I signed the LSK regulations, which have just been taken to the Attorney General. And one important component there is that we're going to have e-voting going forward. So we will, instead of using manual voting, we will now use e-voting, which will be a substantial saving cost. To give you a perspective, the recently concluded elections cost us about 4.5 million shillings to be carried, which were conducted countrywide. But with e-voting, once we have our own app in place, I don't think that will cost us more than 400,000 shillings in future. And that is one of the pillars that I'm proud of, that the Law Society will embrace. How have we interacted in terms of ICT? One, we have assisted the government in areas possible, either through strategic litigation. For example, when we took the Ministry of Lands to court when we challenged the e-regulations, and then everyone started saying that lawyers are against technology, which is not true. What we were against was imposing a system without public participation that was not efficacious, that was not accurate, and that really did not address the concerns of the members. So when we went to court, we said, rather than just condemn it wholeheartedly, let's have a task force of all stakeholders and come up with a proper system. And that's exactly what happened. So as we speak, we have e-regulations, which will have to be taken back to Parliament because they had been rejected in the first instance. And we hope going forward that will really unlock the problems in lands, because that's the biggest obstacle to registration of conveyancing aspects. We have already embraced e-filing in the company's registry, and that is a big plus going forward. And in fact, everything now in Kenya is e-citizen, which also reduces the timelines for doing business in Kenya. The other aspect that we want to look at is how can we embrace artificial technology. We already have learned about artificial technology being employed. I think in Israel, they came up with a program which could actually review documents in a few minutes, while the same time taken by expert lawyers will take hours at an end. So we're under threat if we don't embrace it. So instead of fighting it, why don't we embrace it and see how it can help us? When you actually think about coronavirus, think of how it's going to disrupt business going forward. Because right now the economy is going to go on a downtown. And then people will simply say, okay, business moguls will say, let us now use robotics, artificial intelligence, so that we avoid this kind of disruptive events taking place. Now, in the LSK, we have a very, very vibrant ICT committee. And one of the things that we want to launch this month is an ICT handbook to assist the lawyers in matters ICT. So that's work in progress. Before I retire, my council will have launched that. There's also the issue of social media guidelines, because one of the things about technology is the issue of misinformation, fake accounts. I'll give an example. Last year, when we had our Judicial Service Commission elections, fake news was generated by a Kenyan to the effect that the entire council was bribed of a huge amount of money to look the other side. But in reality, what happened was, when he investigated this account in America, Kenyans don't know that you can actually go through ICT and find out who the person was. We even got the full name of the person in Kenya who created that account. So in conclusion, I am very proud that we have this inaugural conference here. And may we now learn and disseminate information that can actually broaden our appreciation of ICT in our lives today. Not forgetting that 2.28 trillion shillings is transacted by Kenyans annually through mobile money. So this is the way to go. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce my former lecturer and judge of the Court of Appeal, Justice Gatembu, whom incidentally I must point out that the three of us with Florence Joko in 2005 sat in one day and came up with the court mandated mediation rules that are now in practice. So please welcome the judge.